Hence, we had to trace him so that we can retake a statement.
Now it makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo. Ms. Masuku, I think we have decided not to unpack the contents of NPM 7.1, the statement itself. We'll leave that for the trial court. Then I think we can move to your paragraph 59.
At the relevant time, we had obtained DNA samples from the crime scene. These were sent to the SAPS Forensic Laboratory, which was able to confirm a complete DNA result. The report of the Forensic Laboratory is attached as Annexure NPM 8. Unfortunately, these results could not be matched to any data within SAPS forensic system. It was retained as a control sample.
If I may then interrupt you there, that NPM 8, yes. Is at your page 148, and you say that is the forensic report obtained from the crime scene.
That's correct, Commissioners.
This document, firstly, is undated, though signed. It doesn't bear a date. But I note at page 148 that it has as a reference station Duduza CAS 91/04/2022. On my understanding of your evidence, that was the inquest number, the Duduza number.
That's correct, Commissioners.
And at paragraph 3, the author of that report states that on 22/04/2020 at 22:29, I attended an inquest scene at that address for the presence of possible clues and forensic exhibits.
That's
so it
correct.
sounds, my understanding of that document is that the exhibits were collected on the 20th of April 2022, about 5 days after the incident.
That's correct, Commissioners.
And then here it lists the exhibits that were obtained at the scene. There are 2 of them there. Do you confirm?
I do confirm, Commissioners.
Now, when you say at paragraph 59, you rely on this document. And you say in your last line, unfortunately, these results could not be matched to any data within the SAPS forensic systems. It was retained as a control sample. Are we to understand that having obtained these swabs, they were tested in the normal course, they were compared against information that is already stored on the SAPS forensic system, but unfortunately did not return a result to identify any specific person? Am I understanding you correctly?
That's correct, Commissioners.
And then you say it was retained as a control sample.
That's secondary sample to compare it to this one, the control one, so that it can help us to say, yes, we found this cigarette butt, we'll take it as a control sample at a scene of death. Then we retain it at DNA. And then later on, if somebody has been arrested that we think he's the suspect, we take his DNA to test it, comparing it to that part that was found there as a control sample. Then if it matches or it doesn't match, then that is how we get. So that one, those were the samples that were found at the deceased home.
Yes.
So they had to be tasted because there was a thought to say somebody should have touched this. So we can find DNA on this. Then, yes, there was DNA that was found, but it has to be retained up until we get something to compare it with.
Okay. Then you take it up from paragraph 60, if you may. Before you
must I read the annexure at 148 and 149 to mean that a Red Bull can was, sorry? What, sorry? I'm being advised by my co-commissioners not to mention what
Yes,
this is.
I think what the witness wanted to testify to was that DNA was picked up in 2022.
From
which
a
was-
certain object.
Yes, and then it was tested and stored, and we leave it there. So we don't want to go into the detail of the nature or the source of the DNA
Okay.
from the crime scene. Thank you, Chair.
Perhaps I guess we need some guidance beforehand there, because thank you.
No. We've kept away from those parts that we don't want to talk about successfully thus far, and we're almost at the tail end.
Thank you, thank you.
So what the witness is then going to talk to next is another forensic report. The witness is going to talk.
Yes, please continue, please continue.
Then the chair said I should warn the commissioners. After this report, we are going to talk of another forensic report, which once again references DNA. We will just talk briefly to results, and again, we will not, go into detail. So, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Ello.
Ms. Masuku, I then had invited you to turn to your paragraph 60.
Yes, I'm there, Commissioners.
Yes, you may take it from there.
Following Marius van der Merwe's assassination and considering his testimony before the Commission, the SAPS requested me to engage with the persons we had taken warning statements from, to see if they would be willing to submit their DNA in investigation of murder of Marius for purposes of eliminating them as the suspects. I was able to secure their cooperation. I explained the purpose for which their DNA was sought, and they all attended to the SAPS forensic laboratory. I missed science. I was supposed to say forensic science laboratory for DNA swabs to be obtained.
Yes. May continue.
Following the submission of their respective DNA, I requested that a comparison of their respective DNA to be compared with a control sample of from Mr. Mbense's case. A positive result was returned. I attach Annexure NPM 9, a copy of this report. I request be kept confidential so as not to undermine the criminal trial.
Your annexure NPM starts at page 150. 150.
Yes, I'm there, Commissioners.
And I note from this report, it's filed by, I guess, the scientists who undertook these investigations, and she states that she's attached to the SAPS biology section of the forensic science laboratory. That is at paragraph 2. You see that?
Yes, I do, Commissioner.
At page 154, that's the signature page. And it is signed by the person whose name appears at page 150. And it's dated at Pretoria, 14 January 2026.
That's correct, Commissioners.
So this is our second forensic report.
That's correct, Commissioners.
And in your statement, you say after the DNA of your suspects and Mr. Mbense's case was obtained, you requested that all their DNA be run against your control samples.
That's correct, Commissioners.
And you state here that the results obtained were positive.
That's correct, Commissioners.
And that is contained in Annexure NPM 9.
That's correct, Commissioners.
And in particular, I would like to refer you to page 151, which demonstrates the comparison of what you call control samples and the investigation that was then conducted on the 14th of January 2026, as the report tells us at paragraph 3. And specific individuals are identified, or certain identities or specifications are set out therein. We don't have to read its detail. Is that the positive result that you speak of at your paragraph 61?
That's correct, Commissioners. These are the positive results that came out. As you can see, Commissioners, that in that same document, each and every page, it's got lab number, but it entails different lab numbers. And it's got 2 different case numbers as well. So it explains to say the case number below, it's Marius's death case number. The case number up, it's Mr. Mbense's case number. So all those DNA, including Marius's DNA, was also taken from the mortuary. All those DNA were run against the control sample, whereby we did manage to get the positive results.
And on that score, if I may draw your attention to page 152, same report. And if one has regard to paragraph 5.1, in the second line, that references Duduza case 91/04/2022, that's Mr. Mbense's murder case, correct?
That's correct.
And thereafter at 5.2, it then references Brakpan case 75/12/2025, that's Mr. Van der Merwe's assassination.
That's correct,
And the rest of the document from 5.2 to 5.6 is specifically then regarding Mr. Marius's assassination.
That's
or
correct,
murder.
Commissioners.
So it deals with both cases, but it separates them at page 152 to get, and sets out the results arising from the investigations in respect of both cases. Am I understanding the document correctly?
That's correct, Commissioners.
Then we are back in your statement from paragraph 62.
Investigations were necessary to be carried over prior to making arrest in order to ensure compliance with the provisions of Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977 and to secure prospects of successful prosecution. The Independent Police Investigative Directorate's standard operation procedures expressly direct that arrests are not affected for the purpose of conducting the investigation. Arrests are effected once proper and thorough investigation has been concluded and where sufficient admissible evidence exists to establish a reasonable suspicion based on the objective facts that suspects have committed offense as contemplated in Section 40 of the Criminal Procedure Act. Any arrest effected in compliance with these requirements is neither premature nor unlawful, but is procedurally and substantively justified. Arresting suspects prior to the completion of the investigative steps would have been premature, resulting in persistent postponements of the trial pending completion of criminal investigation, and would in any event be inconsistent with the requirements of the Criminal Procedure Act. On the above statement, Commissioners, I am trying to express that should we have effected arrest before the investigation was completed, let's say we arrested them in 2022. Now we are in 2026. Our case, maybe we were going to be having 30% to say 30% we do have a strong case, but 70% we don't have a strong case. So to avoid that, it's for us to conduct a thorough investigation, because we know that all these people, they are here. Unfortunately, some of them died. As now, we had 12, then 4 died, including the recent one, Mr. Pretorius. So now we are left with 8. And all of them, they die as a result of shooting. So it was worth it. I know that there will be questions to say, but it was worth it, but others have died. Unfortunately, we couldn't control that, but it was worth it to investigate it fully, because if now we make arrests, our case docket is ready for trial. So if they go to court, the trial dates will be set very soon, and we are sure that we'll be getting conviction on this matter because it has been thoroughly investigated. So we avoided the prematurely arrest to be done, because it was end up putting us in a lot of pressure, whereby we were going to even overlook some of the facts because we are being pushed by the time. That's what I'm trying to explain on this paragraph to the commissioners. I understand that there was a delay, and I acknowledge that. But that delay, it was not purposely to say, I just close the file and put it there. I didn't do that. The